Hello. Welcome, everybody, once again to another spooky edition of the Mega Strange Hotline. Some people call it the Mega Strange Mailbag. Not me. I think hotline is a cooler term. What do you prefer, mailbag or hotline? Let us know in the chats. Hello, Johnny. Let us know in the chats.
Yeah.
That's also what I call the comment section. What do you prefer to call the comment section? Comment section or the chats? Let us know in the chats.
This has been the great debate since we started the show. Is it mailbag? Is it hotline? You can now make the decision.
It's fucking neither, because you're, well, it is a hotline because you're calling up a phone number and you're giving us some hot gossip. You're not mailing us anything, but we get the transcription of the calls in an email.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's kind of like a mailbag, but it doesn't come in a bag. It's a hotline. Let's be real. That is neither here nor there. On today's hotline episode, I'm excited. We have probably the best hotline episode ever.
Oh.
Because we have true stories of our fans, the Mega Strangers, our on the street correspondents. They've had some paranormal encounters out there. Yes, everyone, it's true. Bigfoot is real. We have some sisters who saw him.
Bigfoot sisters.
And ghosts are real too, because one of our callers tells us about a very famous ghost sighting in his neck of the woods. And, well, this story is actually debatable. Is this true? Is it not true? Because we happen to have an identical story, an exact clone of his ghost story right here in San Diego. And it is something that I myself have personally experienced. We're going to get into it. This is the hotline episode. We do new hotline episodes every Tuesday. We do new full-length episodes of the Mega Strange podcast every Saturday. And we thank you very much for tuning in and supporting us, because this is what keeps us going. I love doing these mailbag episodes. I feel like they are just as good as the main episodes, but they're like little appetizers, little aperitifs, little snacks, bite-sized episodes that you can consume on your way to work or while you're just pinching a loaf on the porcelain throne, wherever you find yourself listening to a podcast and you have less than 20 minutes. This is the show for you.
Dude, you're cranked up to 11 right now.
You think so? Yeah. No, I think that you're just cranked down to like -3.
No, I'm always at
and I'm at
-3.
an 8, but it appears to be an 11 to you. I mean, I'm on one. I'm flying high here. You know, I'm not going to say I'm devoid of energy like other people who may or may not be on this show.
I did want to bring up that the show is now on its new weekday at Wednesdays now.
Oh, I said hotline comes out every Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. I just want
scratch that. So we put a poll out to our fans and asked them, what day do you prefer the hotline episodes to come out? Everybody cried. Didn't cry, but we do feel like we were inflicting emotional pain on people by releasing it on Tuesdays, because apparently there's another famous podcast out there that comes out every Tuesday, and people were forced to choose.
They're drowning in content.
And they didn't want to drown in content. So we're going to make it easy on everybody. We're going to switch our hotline episodes to Wednesdays. Whenever it is, whatever your day is that you come to watch it, don't worry, because it'll be there, because we are doing these every week. So there's constantly a new flow of content. I think I've wasted enough time for our faithful viewers. They want to get to the stories. They really do.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
This is funny. I like this Derek
I'm
mode.
trying to keep it upbeat. All right, hold on. We'll just pause for a moment. All right, let's go to the first call.
Hey, Derek and Johnny. This is Rolla Jones from New York. I know you guys just finished up the East Coast tour, but seeing how Johnny's from like the New York area, you ever hear about Sweet Hollow Road out here on Long Island? Story about a school bus full of kids that apparently they got hit by like a train or whatever it was. So now if you go to Sweet Hollow Road and you park your car and put, I believe it's flour on the back bumper of your car and then put the car in like neutral, apparently the ghosts of the kids push your car off of the railroad tracks. Yeah, that's something you should probably look into.
Okay.
Wow. Johnny, you look like you're going to lose it over there.
That's funny.
So the story goes that a bus full of children crashed. You know, this bus full of children just lost control and just went careening off a cliff.
Okay.
Or maybe they crashed into a wall. I don't know, because I've heard this story before.
On Long Island?
Well, no, I haven't heard it from Long Island. In fact, I've heard it here in San Diego, and it had all the same details. A bus full of kids went over a ledge in San Diego. It's on Sorrento Valley Road on the exit off of the 805 South Highway. I know the exact spot.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. And what they say is if you go to this intersection, this off-ramp of the highway, you come off the highway, you go down a hill, and then you start to go up a hill, and that's where you stop. And then there's a crossroad right here going the other way. But on the other side of the crossroad is just an embankment that goes straight down. And they said that one evening, actually, many years ago, a bus full of children was coming back from a field trip. They may have even been coming back from Disneyland here in San Diego, and they took the Sorrento Valley Road exit, and their brakes failed, and they went careening over the edge, and they all died. But the story doesn't end there, because if you were to go to Sorrento Valley Road and stop your car right at that intersection, you will find that your car gets pushed backwards uphill, away from the crash site. And they say that if you sprinkle some dust or some powder on the hood of your car, you'll see little handprints of the ghost children who were pushing your car backwards. I went there with my car years ago and I experienced this, and it is true. If you park there at the embankment, you're facing down the edge, it appears to be a hill behind you, and you get pushed backwards and you roll uphill. But as I just described, actually, I kind of put the cart before the horse. The way that the road is built is it kind of comes down and then comes back up. And it has this appearance, everything is kind of tilted this way. So it has this appearance that you're at the bottom of a hill looking over the ledge and you're rolling backwards up the hill. But it's just an optical illusion.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the same legend here in San Diego. It's almost identical. But I think that there is I
had never heard about this road that he was in my head. It reminded me in New Jersey, there's a road called Jake Brown Road, notoriously haunted road, similar to the one that we visited also in San Diego, where there's just like a lot of stories of like seeing ghosts in the middle of the night, and like kids go there at night to like, see if they see anything. It's in the Pine Barrens, so it's close to New Jersey Devil territory. But I drove down it once. My friend tried to roll down the windows, and we had like 4 people in the car, and then
tried to roll down the windows.
Yeah, one of the people started screaming when we rolled out. They were scared
because
like roll it up. Yeah.
What were they scared of?
Of like getting touched by a ghoul through the window or something.
But you're driving in a car. This person was on one.
Yeah, I mean, when you get into that headspace of like you're going to a haunted place, like I understand. Like imagine if we went into a haunted house and with a flashlight and I just turned the flashlight off. You'd be like, "Yo, turn that on, turn it on, bro.
Turn it back on, bro. I'm serious right now."
It changes literally nothing.
I know. Well, so I appreciate our caller sharing that story. I do think this is an example of a widespread urban legend.
Yeah,
like the haunted house that you have to sign a waiver to go into, and they really attack you in there, which ended up being a true story.
Yeah, McCamey Manor.
Yeah, I heard about that place my whole life, only to find out that it's real and in San Diego, or at least it was in San Diego before the dude got sued and had to move to Tennessee.
Dude, that guy's psycho.
They made a whole documentary about it, and I was like, it's actually real. So that being said, maybe the bus full of children is a real story. Maybe that happened somewhere, and maybe there are even reported hauntings from that crash site. But I find it a little suspicious that we have one here in San Diego and one in Long Island, and I'm sure there's hundreds all over America.
Yeah.
I think that one is more of just a fun way to scare your friends. It's like playing with a Ouija board. It's not always demonic, though it might be. Sometimes we had Garrett on our show and he talked about how he haunted his own house using a Ouija board and he had to do a ceremonious destruction of the board. Look that episode up if you're interested. But what's your take on it? Do you think that there's something to this haunting that our caller is telling us, or do you think this is more of an urban legend that is in every major town in America?
I mean, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of like variations. I think that's when we get like your Bloody Marys and all that jazz. Yeah. Like there's always like kids talking on a playground about someone who died or some haunted area.
But you know what? Now that you mentioned Bloody Mary, we did an episode about Bloody Mary and found out there was a real Bloody Mary.
Oh, yeah.
And so sometimes these stories are based on something and they kind of just spiral out of control and they grow to be bigger in the myth form than they were in real life. But that doesn't mean there wasn't some kernel of truth there at the beginning. I'm interested. I would like to maybe look into this myself, see if there is any merit to these stories of buses filled with children dying all at once and the children come back as guardian angels. Maybe there is something there. I don't know. Well, we have another call from some sisters who claim to see what they think is Bigfoot. Let's get into their call.
Hi, this is Jackie, Josie, and Christina from Erie, Pennsylvania, coming at you with a Bigfoot story in the middle of the woods. My husband and I watch your show, and we love it. So hi, Derek, hi, Johnny, and we're going to dive right on in. Here's my sister, Josie.
Hi. So it was a fall day in 2002, probably around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I was 10 years old at the time, and so my sisters, we were at the edge of the hilltop looking at something. It looked like a black dog chasing its tail. That's what they said. And so our dog Ruby, she was a golden retriever, and she was just barking like no tomorrow. She was just snarling. She was ferocious. And I was like, all right, something has to be back in there. It's probably not another dog. And all of a sudden, we saw this humanoid figure. Mm-hmm. And at first I thought it could have been like, it looked like it could have been in a ghillie suit, but then I realized there was fur, and it was all black, like black as black.
Void, like no light could pass through this blackness.
Yes.
It was like a black hole in humanoid form. It was really, really weird.
And he must have stood about like 7 or 8 foot tall. He was just ginormous, and I thought it might have been walking on stilts, like someone in a costume, but that made no sense because of the way it was walking. It was walking like it was on glass, like literally, in the woods along the creek.
Mm-hmm. When we saw it disappear, it kind of melted into the ground, and I thought it had kind of slithered away, but I don't know. I mean, it had black matted fur, no facial features, no face whatsoever.
I looked so hard for like eyes,
nothing.
Short, like thick black hair.
Thick black hair, and then it just kind of vanished. It all happened within 2 or 3 minutes. Sister Christina also saw this. Yep. So, and we all, So that's our experience. So, thank you so much, and you guys have a good day.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
Wow. Well,
I love that call.
First off, I want to hear Sister Christina's take on that as well.
Call back.
The most striking thing about that call, and thank you for your call, sisters, was the level of conviction that they told the story with. It seems like recalling the memories, maybe even it's still scary is what it sounds like when they tell their story.
I love that it sounded like someone called, like butt dialed someone while they're mid podcast. Like they sound like they had their own little podcast going.
They could do a podcast. Yeah, they had podcast personality, energy, definitely. Okay, so the story is they're at a creek in Erie, Pennsylvania. This is about 10 years ago. They see what appears to be a black dog chasing its tail, but this thing kind of rears up and begins walking. It appears to be so tall that they think it's a person in stilts inside a costume, but the costume does not make sense because it's so black. There's no facial features, and the way it's walking, they described it as walking on glass.
That's the part that really stuck with me. Like imagining something like walking like that.
Walking on glass. So I assume taking very soft steps, trying not to disturb the ground too much. And then this 8-foot tall black mass melted into the ground and slithered away or somehow disappeared.
Alex Mack shit.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's
wild.
a wild story. There's this horror book I read called The Terror. I've talked about this book a lot. The monster in that book, the Toonbach, is kind of like a abominable snowman, and that thing is described as melting in and out of the snow. It almost becomes the snow itself. They describe it in that book as this monster is such a part of like nature. Like it has it's one with nature's energy that it's basically, it's almost like it's a force of nature in and of itself, that it has the ability to like pop in and out of the landscape. That's immediately what I thought of when they said this black mass melted into the ground. And another thing that they described was that it was completely black, like a black hole in human form. I'm just citing horror media that I've like experienced, but I watched a movie recently and I recommended it to you.
Yeah.
And I put a picture of this up on our Instagram. It's called Uncle Boon Me. And it was a ghost story from the jungles of Thailand. And there's these entities in that movie which are called monkey ghosts or ghost monkeys. And they are basically spirits of the forest that are pretty similar to what these sisters describe. All black, matte fur, so black that it doesn't seem to reflect light. These monkey ghosts in the film. And I only bring this up because it seemed like the film was based in some sort of actual lore. They almost appear to be silhouettes, but they have red eyes and they kind of just silently like walk through the jungle. And supposedly when you're in the jungle, these things will watch you and they represent the jungle. They are like spirits of the jungle and, you know, manifestations of the jungle that can interact with people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating here because we just heard a crazy fucking story about an 8-foot tall Bigfoot that melted into the ground. And these 3 sisters, 3 of them saw it.
Yeah. I don't know what is wrong with my brain, but like I kind of like, that story was fantastic, but I got into this like mindset of like how human brains work.
Okay.
Like the fact that there was 3 sisters that said this story, like I don't really have any way of proving what they saw, but they said it with such conviction and such like confidence that like I'll believe whatever they like the way they said it. I was like, damn, that's cool. That's crazy that like if you get like multiple people just saying something believable, how much it like kind of can change your perception and like how you feel and what you believe in that moment. I don't know if that's a weird way to go with this.
Well, what are you saying? That you think it was actually out there, or that you?
I was just saying, regardless of
that they all witnessed an illusion or something.
I wouldn't even say that. It was like mostly like I just realized that like I'm not saying if they saw it or not, but the way they presented it was so believable that I feel like I have
want to believe it.
I have no doubts.
No
like
doubts.
The way they told the story, and I'm like, is that something with like the human brain where it just you have multiple people telling you something?
Well, this reads like a true story. It feels like a true story. The way that they can recall it so quickly, and the way that they kind of share details. It seemed like one person was telling a story and the other person knew exactly where they were in the story and was corroborating the details or pointing out things that they may have forgotten to mention briefly. Like it almost seemed like they had both experienced the same thing and were reflecting upon it. I think it's a true story. I think that they saw something. I don't know what they saw. Also, it's hard to gauge the size of things sometimes when you're out in the wild. You know, you see something that looks really big, but then you get up close to it and you're like, oh, it's really small. It's just my perspective was weird. Or inversely, you see something that looks really small and you're like, oh, it's actually fucking huge. I was just looking at it from a distance and I didn't realize, because perspective gets shifted so easily. I don't know. They had the details of the fur. They had the details of the way it walked, the size of it. Multiple people saw it. They watched it until it went away. This is one for the record books, everybody. I don't have an explanation for this. I do believe that they saw something, and I'm going to say maybe they saw what they claimed that they saw.
It being devoid of light is the part that really terrifies me the most. Like,
it doesn't sound like Bigfoot.
yeah, it sounds like demonic almost.
This does sound like it's an entity.
Yeah.
Like the being devoid of light, melting into the ground. Also, it looked like a black dog chasing its tail. Was it spinning around in a circle? Like, what was this thing doing? Or was it like a Tasmanian devil being conjured up out of nowhere?
Yeah.
That's my Tasmanian devil noise, yes.
There's this new paint that exists now. It's supposedly the blackest black.
Oh, you're talking about like a Vecto Black or whatever it is?
I watched this video where someone built a tiny house and they painted the whole inside with it, and it was like terrifying.
Oh, these paints, I've heard about these. Side note, there's like a paint war going on. Have you heard about this stuff? So these paints are created in a laboratory.
Yeah.
They're not found anywhere in nature. They're synthetic colors, and the scientists who are the first ones to create them using their chemical code can patent the color and make it so that other people aren't allowed to use the color unless they buy the rights to it. And so there's one artist who is out there trying to patent these colors, like the blackest black, the whitest white, the bluest blue. And he wants to commodify it and make money off of it. And there's a whole group of other artists who are basically reverse engineering the colors and then releasing them patent free.
Hell yeah.
Like the pinkest pink, the blackest black, the bluer than the bluest blue. And they're free to any artist as long as all that artist has to do is sign a contract saying they'll never hand it over to that original artist who was trying to patent the colors. They basically want to ostracize him from this color community and be like, no, fuck this guy. Get him out of here. We're going to make our own colors. He's not a part of it.
Yeah, I heard it was kind of hard to obtain that black paint. I didn't know why, but
Yeah,
you're
that's
opening
why.
my eyes.
It's because he's trying to commodify it. But you can get like the knockoff version of it as long as you sign the contract saying you won't share it with the original artist.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
the scariest part in that video I saw, it's like them just putting a flashlight on in this room. It's like
It reflects no light.
Can't see it.
It
It's like,
absorbs
what
all
the
light.
fuck?
It's a chemical concoction. In fact, I think it has like severe military purposes.
Yeah.
Like the army wants to get a hold of this stuff bad. And they probably have it. You know, I'm gonna be real. Who knows what they got? Do they have a black mat melting Sasquatch in the U.S. Army? That's what I want to know. They probably do.
Yeah.
They probably know all about what these sisters in Erie, Pennsylvania are talking about, and the government doesn't want us to know. You know what? We're going to dive into some government secrets in an upcoming episode of Mega Strange, so I want you to stay tuned for that. But when it comes to this, I'm gonna Snope this baby. Confirmed.
Oh.
I'm going to say this thing's real. And I don't know why I'm saying that. I have no evidence. All I have is anecdotal evidence from our hotline. But that's enough for me to go off of, baby. That's all it takes for Derek Acosta and Johnny Weiss to sign on to this story.
Oh, I'm getting signed on. Hell yeah.
You're getting signed on. And with that, we're going to sign off. That's our mailbag hotline episode for today. We'll be back next Wednesday. And don't forget to see a full-length episode of Mega Strange every Saturday at noon on the Mega Strange YouTube channel. We'll see y'all later. Stay strange, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. If you like this video, be sure to click on some more videos from the Mega Strange podcast. We have tons of hotline episodes and tons of full-length episodes that are going to keep you entertained and scared. So stick around with us for a while. Watch some more videos.